I hope you guys have a notebook and you're writing down some of the things that this woman is sharing, okay?
Because Angel is asking all the right questions. Okay? Your husband cannot read your mind.
Oh.
He can't read your mind. I wish he could.
Dayana. What is a lesson that you have learned as a wife?
That to admit when you're wrong.
Oh! Get out of my house. Dayana, get out of the house. I hope my husband did not hear you.
He's an affectionate person. And
touch.
Yes.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Angel, and I am so excited to be here with you guys again. And if you're new here, I love to help women become the best version of themselves while creating an atmosphere and a space so that we can reflect and conversate and just share with one another. And today I have the beautiful Dayana, and we are going to be sharing about her love story. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love a good love story. And so, Dayana, before we get into it, just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone. First I want to say I'm honored. Thank you, Angel, for having me on this segment. I'm honored to be on here and share my story with you and everyone else. I've been married for 2 years to Kevin, my husband. We have one beautiful daughter, Yara, who just turned 1. She's 1 and 2 months.
Congratulations.
So I'm excited to share the story of how we met and how it's going so far. So thank you, Angel.
You're welcome. All right, so you guys, I have my little cards here. Dayana doesn't know anything that I'm asking her.
Nope, I don't know.
And you identify as being like an introvert.
Yeah.
And so she's very much so introverted. I am very much so extroverted. And so I'm gonna be pulling at her. And so if you're an introvert, put some roses in the comments for her. Show her some love. We all know how it feels to be in front of a camera, and sometimes it could be a little nervous and nerve-wracking. But with this series, I just want to let you guys know that I wanted to be able to share the stories of the women that I knew as far as their love story. And so, Dayana, I thank you for being one of the first women to come on and just share your love story. And so let's begin by just hearing how it all started. How did you and your husband meet?
It's so funny. This question, me and my husband talked about this story. We were like, how did we meet? Because we can't even pinpoint when that started. But we've had mutual friends.
Yeah.
And we kind of known of each other.
Okay.
And during the time that he found interest of me, learned that I existed, I was with a previous partner in college at that time. So didn't really know of him. And then during that time, he kind of stayed in the background and kept watching and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever that means. But
Kevin said, "I'm watching you, girl." Well, he's like, "I got my eyes on you."
This is from his perspective, telling me what he was doing during that time. So, to fast forward to when we met, we kind of didn't meet in person. We kind of met on social media.
Okay.
We met on Facebook, and we were chatting here and there. And then when Tumblr was big back then, we were talking.
Tumblr.
And then we took the conversation to Twitter. So it was a lot of social media texting back and forth until we went on a first date, and that was in New York City. Yeah.
Wait a minute. So where did you go to school, if you don't mind me asking?
So I spent a couple years in Salem State.
Okay.
And then I transferred out and went to New York. Wow. So I lived in New York a little bit. But like I said, we had mutual friends.
So did he meet you? Was he going to Salem State as well?
No, he was in Connecticut.
How did this man find you?
Yeah.
Kevin, we're gonna have to ask you next.
Yeah. So he was in Connecticut at the time in college. So when we were having these conversations, we were separate, meaning I was in New York at that time and he was in Connecticut. Yeah. And then so we decided to meet in New York because he's like, I'll come to you. And then
as he should.
Yeah. So, and that's when he traveled to New York and we had a first date in New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that first date? Was he on time?
He was on time.
Were you late?
I was late.
But it's okay to be late.
I was late, and the introverted person that I am was just so awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was very shy, but the date went well. We had Mexican.
Nice.
Nice. And then we just sat and chatted. my perspective, I was, like I said, I was very shy, but we were just talking, I was getting to know him. From his perspective, he was just saying that he was just staring the whole time.
He just stared at you.
Just stared.
Wow.
But we learned a lot about each other that day too. So it was a good time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did Kevin propose to you?
Kevin, it's Kevin was looking to propose for a while, but COVID happened.
Okay.
And he bought the ring, and the ring got locked down in the jewelry store because of COVID. So it's so funny because he was looking to propose on my birthday in that year. And on my birthday, I thought he was going to too. And then little did you know, the birthday goes by, and
you're like, nothing. You're like, what?
It's like
still empty.
Still empty. And I'm so embarrassed to say I was being a brat that day. I was like, I thought I was gonna get something for her.
Yeah.
He's like, it's coming, something is gonna happen. I was gonna make up to you. Well, he said that I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna make it up to you.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything. But fast forward to the proposal day. He told me a couple weeks prior to find an outfit. We're gonna go out and have a dinner to make up for your birthday that we didn't do anything. And then fast forward to that day, I got dressed up, got my makeup done.
Did you expect anything?
I didn't expect anything the whole day until I was blindfolded. I think that is.
I feel like
that kind of gives off something.
If something big is about to happen. Because you don't just blindfold people for no reason.
Why do you blindfold someone for dinner?
You don't.
I thought we were going to dinner. Why are we getting blindfolded? So
when he blindfolded you, was your heart like...
I was like, what's going on? Like, my mind was racing. I was like, why am I getting blindfolded? I was like, no, it's going to happen.
It's happening.
And then we drove to the location. Halfway through the location, driving, he's like, I got to blindfold you. I was like, why? I know the restaurant we're going to. We've been there. And he's like, I just got to blindfold you. And then when we got to the location, he's like, I got to be right back. So I'm in the car sitting blindfolded.
Oh, no. In the car blindfolded.
It's in the car blindfolded. And then he came back. He's like, okay. So it's funny because we have the video on YouTube, and look, I watch it here and there. And I was like, oh my goodness, because he recorded.
I'll leave it in the description so you guys can go watch it. Because
I should have mentioned that.
I can't wait to go and like look it up and watch it.
I should have mentioned that. But it was in Seaport, so from the car to the proposal location, we were walking, and I was in heels, blindfolded on the marina. So can you imagine, like, you're toggling through?
Literally, I'm thinking of your legs. Like, were you wearing a chunky heel, a stiletto?
Stiletto.
Oh, girl, your poor ankles, your knees, everything.
So I'm sitting here, like, crippling, walking, holding his arm, trying not to fall.
Oh my goodness.
But then when we finally reached the location, I took off the blindfold, and all my family was there. All my friends and all my family. I cried like no one's business. I cried. And I think what I cried about was that moment I got to experience with all my friends and family, and that was important to me, that I didn't get to share with him, but somehow he knew. He knew that I want her friends and family to be there. Yeah, so it was a beautiful moment. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So how did you know Kevin was the one?
So I think how I knew Kevin was the one, because Kevin was so different. Kevin was teaching me things about myself that I didn't know I had. And Kevin was kind of building a relationship with me, was building a relationship with me that was intentional. Intentional that I want to spend the rest of my life with her. So the reason why I say this is because, as you know, we had past relationships before we were married. Yeah. And not to say like those weren't good. You learn from them.
Of course.
And I've learned so much from those that they're good, and then also you learn the bad things that you don't want. Yeah. And being in the relationship with Kevin showed me all the things that I wanted were not impossible.
So good.
And it comes with a God-fearing man, a man that he doesn't believe in 100% gender roles, and meaning like I can cook dinner too.
Yeah.
I can clean too.
Like he's willing to help
He's
and
willing
do the
to
things.
help.
Yeah.
Yes, he's willing to help. It's more of a partnership. It didn't feel like
like you're gonna be my wife and you're also gonna be doing everything while having a full-time job.
Yes, and during that time, right, when you're dating, you're kind of not thinking about that stuff, but there's things that happened throughout that time that you see that this is what he's going to do and this is how he's going to live that life with you, have that relationship with you. So when those things were occurring, and even that in our lowest lows during that time too, the way he reacts to those lows and the way that he would help me get out of my lows, really I was like, wow, I think this is exactly what I want in a husband. And during that age, we were younger. I think we were like 23. I was 23 at that time.
So you guys were dating for a while.
Yeah.
Oh wow, how long did you guys date?
I think we dated for 5-6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. 5-6 years before he proposed. During that time, I thought I knew what a husband was. I learned I was using social media to dictate how that looks like. To shape how that looks like. But hey, I definitely learned he was the one through his actions, through him showing me how he's going to show up for me, showing me how he show up for my family, how he show up for my friends, and not only just me.
Wow.
Yeah, so those little things that happened through our relationship definitely
helped you choose, and that's how you knew he was the one. That's beautiful. So you guys have been together for a while, and so love languages, what's yours, and do your love languages differ from his, and how do you find the balance in between?
So it's funny because I took a survey. They have that on the internet. I took a survey to learn what my love language was because I couldn't put it into words. So I think I've learned that my love language is act of kindness or acts of service. Yes.
So just in case somebody doesn't know what the love languages are, it's acts of service, gift giving, quality time, physical touch, and words of affirmation.
So acts of service was mine, and a little bit of words of affirmation, and what was it? Affection.
Words of affirmation, quality time, touch, acts of service. I think I just jumbled myself up. So it's words, then it's actions, then it's touch, quality time, gift giving. That was the next one. Gift giving.
Gift giving. But majority of mine was acts of service, and I found so much love when he helped me with things, because I think as a woman, or maybe I speak for myself, I feel the need to carry the load. I feel the need that I need to show up to do X, Y, and Z and finish that in order to make you happy or family happy. And that's probably me too. I like to provide for people. And having someone return that in a way that other people can't was really big for me.
Wow.
So that was my love language. His love language is definitely he's an affectionate person. And
touch.
Yes.
I'm like, I've never met a man that doesn't love touch yet. Like, Emmanuel, his is definitely touch. But it's so funny because I think all of us women, we're just like, it's touch. Like, it's the other ones too, but it's mostly touch.
It's touch. And some days I feel like,
so he's
you didn't
PDA.
kiss me today.
Oh.
It's like, you came in, you didn't even kiss me today.
You're like, okay, Kevin, I'm coming.
And it's funny because I had to learn how to do that because I'm a go. I had to learn how to slow down. Slow down. Be intentional with my time with him. Acknowledge that he's there. And that's his, providing that to him was his way of knowing that I know that he's there and I see him. So I had to learn how to do that.
Girl. That part. I mean, I remember hearing this. It's like when you know like your love language. It's like you have to learn how to love someone not the way you want to be loved.
Yes.
Which is kind of difficult when you're still like new in a relationship or you're dating someone or even like freshly into marriage. Like I remember for me, my love language is quality time, 100%, and words of affirmation. And Emmanuel, he's more like physical touch, but then he also likes acts of service. And I know, like, I don't know if you and Kevin are anything like me and Emmanuel, but we're a hot mess in the best way ever.
We're not perfect. Yeah. It's a perfect storm.
Yeah, exactly. But I know, like, for example, one thing that I had to learn and teach myself constantly was whenever we would get in like arguments, like, not to withhold how I love him. So like, girl, we would be getting into arguments and then it's like, you're getting ready to go to bed. Yeah, you might like diffuse it, but like, I know at night, he likes when I rub his head. And if I'm mad at him, I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. And so I'm like, I literally would have to have this conversation because this is how the enemy works. It's like, you could either rub his head and just say, you know what? The word says, do not hold a record of wrong. Or I could just be petty or spiteful and just go to sleep and just not do what I know that would give him love. And so I remember I'd be like fist balled up and I'd be like, you know what, Angel, you love him. You prayed for him. God gave you him. You are his favor. Like, you don't want to create any like wedge that the enemy could come in and then cause you guys to want to divide. So I'd be like, stretching this arm out and like, rub this man's head. But it's so interesting because his love language is physical touch and acts of service, I'm always, not always, but like in order to have him love me the way I want to be loved, I'm like, babe, I love when you say like whatever it is. You could tell me I'm beautiful 7 times and I'll still think it's not enough. Like, I'm like, give me more. Like, I want more. But it's so interesting because you have to communicate that with your partner. And so I'm sure like you and Kevin, like the fact that you felt him love you by just acting and doing the things that you desired and being kind to you, it kind of helped when things got a little tough. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure he might not know the words to say, but he probably thought like, let me buy dinner or let me clean up the kitchen or something like that, you know? So that's awesome. That's so interesting. I'm just like, physical touch, guys. Get something new. Like, do something else. Like, it's whatever. Whatever. Okay. So I have a question for you. Yes. What is some advice you would give to the women who are living in their purpose, but they know that there will be one day a wife?
Living in purpose and one day there will be a wife.
Yeah. So
what do they... Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What do they want from?
Yeah, so pretty much it's like women who are waiting to be married, but they're focused on their purpose. You know what I mean? Because I feel like when I think about single women, first of all, I know you probably still have a handful of single friends. I know I do, girl. But I feel like they always make it seem like single women can't have an identity outside of being in a relationship or having a desire to be married. And so like, even with this conversation, it's to encourage people that, you know, your love story is unique. The way you find out your person and how you knew he was the one is all unique, but more so also like own who you are. Enjoy this time of singleness, because when you get married, it changes. Like, you could still be an individual and you are still an individual, but it changes. So the question really kind of goes, what is your advice for women who are waiting?
Like Angel said, enjoy this time. I think society has posed this stress of you're not complete until you're married. Marriage is beautiful. That doesn't take away that marriage is not beautiful. But also this time of singleness is also really beautiful as well. Take the time to learn yourself. Learn what you like. Learn what you don't like. And I say this because we kind of touched base on it a little bit, is that you have, once you're married, you have to communicate. Your husband cannot read your mind. Oh. He can't read your mind. I wish he could.
Dayana.
when I'm mad, stomping around, huffing and puffing. He's like, I know why.
And the nerve of him, he asks you and you're like, don't worry about it. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Or you should know why I'm mad.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't know why you're mad.
Yeah.
Why are you mad? But all these things that you learn about yourself while you're single to understand how to communicate yourself to someone else because it's a partnership. And you should, and within that marriage, you should also lead on that too, right?
Yeah.
You're marrying another person. We're all humans.
Yes.
We all have our nuances within ourselves, right? We have some negative parts, we have some positive parts.
Right.
And you'll learn when you're with a partner, with your partner, there's things that you don't like about them. But that doesn't take away from the things that you love about them too, right?
That's true.
And I say this to say because you need to learn how to communicate these things. When you're building this relationship with the person, you're building it together. It's now one-sided. It's now weight on more on one side than the other. So I always say this too, for that to be successful, and not to say that it won't be if you don't have this down packed, but learning yourself during this time and learning what you like and learning how to communicate with someone, learning what you find valuable, or what you don't find valuable, what you love that he does, what he's, oh my God, I can't even.
You're fine, yeah.
Only to say that it's just, take this time to learn yourself, learn how to love yourself so that you can communicate to someone else how to love you.
Ooh.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes. And this is I think that's the most important part, that when I got into my marriage, that I kind of didn't focus on when I was single, was learning what I loved about myself, so that he can learn to love me in that way, or use to shine that, right?
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
No, I mean, I think that was beautiful advice, and I feel like in one way or another, we all kind of hear that or have heard that, but we don't really understand the weight of really what that means, because we're so fixated on the next thing or the token of saying I'm a wife or I'm engaged or whatever the case is. But then you get married and you're like, they're not loving me the way I need to love. Like, I remember I was reading an article and they're saying divorce rates are at its all-time high, especially in the US, and it's because I think people just don't know how to communicate with one another, and people don't know how to be themselves in a relationship where there's another person. And it's interesting that it's something that we've heard where people are, since we were little, right? We've always heard people say, love yourself, be yourself, but nobody really does that. And when they do, obviously it's for the season that they're in, but it's so interesting because when I talk to like single women, they're like, what should I be doing? I'm just like, just love yourself. Just do you.
Yeah, just continue to be you, do you. And lead with that, right? Anytime you're talking to someone, getting to know someone, lead that relationship, friendship with being yourself, because they're gonna fall in love with the true you. Yeah. And you need them to fall in love with the true you. Yeah. You don't want them to fall in love with that talking stage. You're like, your makeup is perfect.
Oh, girl.
That face, I won't take away from it. It's important too, right? Yeah. But the real you, the quirkiness, the unperfectness, that is what makes you unique, right? And that's what they're gonna fall in love with. They're gonna fall in love with the thing that makes you you. Yeah. So lead with that in the whole relationship. Yeah. I love that. So take that time to find that within yourself and learn how to become comfortable with sharing that and portraying that and exuding that during that time. Love that.
Isn't she so great? I mean, I know she was like, I'm an introvert. She's doing so great.
Well, Angel's so good at pulling it out
and just talking. Oh, I love that. Okay, so my next question would be then, what is one lesson you learned as a wife?
Making me think, girl.
You can think, listen, you can think, I'm going to grab us some waters, okay? You think about that.
It's making me think, okay?
So on my channel, the girls know we drink our water over here, okay? Period. All right, guys, we're back. We had our little water break. And so the question that, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this part in, but who knows? We might. But the question that I have for you is, what is a lesson that you have learned as a wife?
That to admit when you're wrong.
Ooh! Get out of my house. Diana, get out of the house. I hope my husband did not hear you.
I was like, what, do I want to say this?
Yes, you do.
But I was going to be transparent and be like, yes, I'm going to say it.
Diana, that's a big thing,
To
girl.
admit when you're wrong. I struggled with that. I struggled with that a couple of days ago.
Every day.
It's just like, I have to admit I'm wrong. And that I struggle with that because who wants to be wrong? I want to be right.
Me too.
I want to be right all the time.
Technically, I feel like I'm always right.
Yeah, I feel I was right. It's like, Kevin's like, you think you know it all? I'm like, yes, I know it all.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know it all.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I'm learning.
Yeah.
Right? I'm learning that it's admit when I'm wrong. And when I find out I'm wrong, let him know that I'm wrong and then fix the wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that can come in whatever form it is, right? It's just like, oh, I'm sorry I told you to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry I didn't mean to react that way.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part of vulnerability too, right? You have to be vulnerable with your partner. And at that time, be like, I'm wrong.
Yep.
I acknowledge that. I'm coming to you, communicating that to you. And that I'm going to fix it. Yeah. So that's what I learned.
I found myself doing that a lot this past week, actually admitting it. And it felt good to admit it, but it also felt like cringy because I'm just like, normally I'm always right. But when you sit down and you shut your mouth and you realize no, my husband actually knows what he'd be talking about. So I love that. I love that. Girl.
And I think, let's just piggyback what you said, I always think I'm right too. It's so funny when I come with our else, damn, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'll be like, make an excuse for him, like, well, it wasn't
Or
this.
find something else to say to kind of
no, girl, you were wrong. He was right.
Yeah,
And-
real wrong.
And I think it's also too a culture thing too. Well, maybe it's my culture too. That it kind of we don't take value. Well, maybe it's my culture. Sometimes we don't find valuable what the men has to say, like their inputs.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
We don't their inputs. And they're like, what do you know? You didn't birth a child. So what do you know? You don't know how to whatever
these
category
things. Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah.
It could be it could be something small, like put more salt in the food. Like, what do you know? You don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what do you know?
Yeah.
You don't, oh, I need to fix something.
I love that you said that.
So I think that's the part also, I think also that kind of lead me that way too, is like the culture, my upbringing too. And taking that opportunity to lead differently. Our culture, how we were brought up, our family, your mom, your dad, they have a huge input or input and also influence. They have a huge influence of who you are today. And their marriage, if they are married, or your family's marriage or whatnot, they also kind of bleed into you and can also bleed into your marriage.
Yeah.
But it's very important to notice when these things are happening.
That's good.
And don't let it, if it's negative, I'm only saying if it's negative. I mean, it's only negative if it's not working for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It could be positive and it could happen to you, it's bleeding into your marriage, but your marriage is thriving and that's fine. But if it's only negative if it's not working. And if that's the case, it's learning to acknowledge that and fix it.
Yeah, and discard that information that was given.
Yeah.
That's so good. You said something that I thought was so amazing. But no, so what you said that caught my attention was that we don't really value what the men say. And I think that says a lot about where we have come as like a people. And I think it's a lot to unpack, right? Because there's talk about men not really being in their right place in a household or in a relationship or not really standing up But I feel like us as women, we have not done our best part. I can say, for me, Angel, there would be times when my husband wants to say something and I cut him off because I know how to respond to him fast. Like I said earlier, I'm a talker, you know? And so when I cut him off, it's disrespectful. And one thing that I've learned as a wife is that men value respect.
They do.
They value respect. And so when I don't show respect to him, how can I expect him to speak to me lovingly? You know what I mean? Not saying that one is better than the other. You should do this, you know, if this or if not. But I think, when I think about the world and the way the world is, especially when it comes to like black men, the world isn't made for us. You know what I mean? The way, and we know, I'm not going to get all into it, but the black man, the black woman, we go through so much, and there's a lot of people that don't respect us when we walk outside of our house. And so when you said we don't value their voices, I'm like, girl, I hear that. And I feel like this generation of wives, we're doing the work to unlearn a lot of things that we got from our culture, like you said, and like from people that would just pour into us that we didn't ask for. Like, you're giving me advice about my marriage and I didn't even ask you for marriage advice. Like, okay. And now I have to literally shift through my thoughts on like, what should I keep? What should I discard? But I love that you said that. And I think that's a good point for anyone watching. Like, even if you're in a relationship or if you're single, like, respect overall, not just because he's your husband, not just because he's your man, or not just because you're his partner. Should you treat a person or treat anyone without respect? And so I love that. Girl. Juice. She got the juice. I love that. Oh, okay. So the next question that I have for you is, what is a challenge that you and Kevin have come through together?
Yeah. Take a sip of water. I this one.
I hope you guys have your water. I hope you're drinking it. I hope that you guys are enjoying it. If you are enjoying this conversation, comment your favorite part so far. I know the part about admitting that you're wrong. That still has me like, Dayana.
Something that we overcame together, learning how to schedule and prioritize our life, right? And not let it weigh to one side. And the way I say, what I mean by this is that he goes to work, right? We all go to work. We do 9 to 5. But when we come home, there's things to be done at home, right? And he also has his passion. He's also a producer. So when he comes home, he still works.
Yeah.
He has his other job to complete.
Yeah.
And there was a point of time that, complete transparency here, that it kind of was leaning towards the other way, right? That you come home, you kind of prioritized your production, music production, and not acknowledging there's other things to do in the home before you're able to do that.
Right.
So at the time, not communicating, I was just swallowing that, right? Just swallowing that. Come home, still do what we got to do. And when you add a child to the mix, it adds on to the load, right?
That's real.
So I finally was able to communicate that with him, and then as a result, we were able to develop a schedule, right? For some reason, it's challenged me to communicate this, and I think this is also it is a testament to my culture, because a woman should be able to do it all, right? What do you need the help from the man from? You should be doing it. He could do whatever he wants.
I need help. I don't care. I need help.
What do you need help for? But I need help, right?
Yeah, I need help.
So before you go do that, help me do this. Help me prep dinner.
Yeah.
Help me do this before you go do that. Have some time with me before you go do that, right? But whatever it is, that time frame before you go do your other task that I'm gonna lose 3, 4, 5 hours for you from, acknowledge that, and let's be intentional at that time.
Prioritize.
Prioritize that. So that's a challenge that we overcame together because we learned to prioritize our time before we go separate. Because when you wake up, you both go to work. You don't see each other for 8 hours. If you do that, right?
Right.
If you have jobs that you go separately, and then when you come back in the home, if your partner has another hobby, job, whatever it may be, that loses time again that you guys are separate.
That's true.
So I think for me was learning to communicate that with him, that I do find valuable having time with you before you go do that.
Yeah.
And then intentionally creating that schedule that allows for him to still complete that, but also prioritize what I need from him. Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's so simple, but a lot of us, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, cause I remember when me and Amanda would go through moments like that too. Like, we're just not prioritizing each other, and then you don't say anything about it, and it just, like you said, you're like swallowing it, you're building it up, and not only that, you're creating a conversation that's in your head that has never happened.
That was not the issue in the first place.
You know what I mean?
Or his thoughts.
Exactly. Like, or you start to even like make up like reasons why you guys aren't talking, and it's really just you guys didn't prioritize each other. And yes, the other things that you're focused on are important because we are passionate people that have goals and aspirations. But like you said, if you're not talking about it and you're not, seeing how you can compromise for your partner, it makes a huge difference. Like compromise. I don't know. The married women are like, let me go share this video with my husband. But it's true. Like compromise, like I feel like compromising is also like, if I could say it properly, it's like a way you can show love. Like that's like sacrifice.
Yes.
What you're telling me that I have to change my time or stop doing something that I really enjoy, or like just limit it just so I can make sure my partner is happy and that they don't feel overwhelmed. That's a big deal. So
it is a big deal.
That was a good one. You guys put the roses in the comments, right? I hope you guys have a notebook and you're writing down some of the things that this woman is sharing. Okay.
Because Angel is asking all the right questions. Okay. All the right questions.
All of the right questions, All right. So my last question.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh man.
Okay. No, second to last question.
Okay.
Because you did share that you were a mom.
Yeah.
And so what is advice that you would give to the moms here? Other than, having a schedule, like advice or words of encouragement. Both are acceptable.
So I'm a new mom. This is our first child. And I mentioned before, she's 1. She's 1 and 2 months. So what advice I would give at this time was that be gracious to yourself. Be gracious to yourself. Be kind to yourself. You're not going to get it perfect. And this things I'm telling myself now.
Yeah.
Because going in from when she was born till now, I thought I had to have it perfect. It also, too, is...
Wow.
This leaves room for comparison too when you're comparing yourself to other moms. You're comparing yourself to the children of other moms. Or like, my child's not doing this yet. It's just like, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You're doing it right. And be kind to yourself and throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
You birthed a human, okay?
Girl. Y'all did. Y'all birthed the whole her.
And if you didn't birth them, whatever it is, if you adopted them or however, but you have a child that you're taking care of, you put a roof over their head, you're feeding them, you're providing them love. All these things, needs that you give to them on an ongoing basis. Like there's no stop. There's no start and stop.
Definitely not. Like you can't
start and stop. So be kind to you. Be kind to yourself during that process. Like, you're doing it right. You're doing good. You're doing great.
Wow. You're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing great.
You're doing so good. Oh, I love that. So, okay, now the final question. What is something that you would share with your daughter about marriage?
A lot. About marriage, like in the marriage, what would I share in the marriage?
It could be in the marriage, about your marriage, or something that, like, imagine, like, it's I don't know, let's say 20 years from now, 25 years from now, she's looking at you and she's like, Mom, I'm about to be married. Like, what should I do, or what can I do, or what should I know?
Okay. So, and we kind of talked about this in the beginning in another question. It's like, don't be afraid to communicate. Don't be afraid to voice your thoughts. Don't be afraid to voice your feelings. Be vulnerable. And I think the beauty, to me, the beauty of marriage really blossoms when you are vulnerable, right? Yeah. You break down this barrier, and vulnerability, so much fruits come from that. You're able to communicate because you don't feel like you have to keep your mouth shut, and like you can say really what's on your mind. But you can say it in a kind way, right?
Yeah.
Not word vomit.
To hurt them.
To hurt them. But communication and being vulnerable, be yourself. That's what I would tell her, because at the end of the day, you see this person every single day. You're doing life with this person, right? And life is a roller coaster in itself. And it has so many different colors and different phases. You have highs and you have lows. Yeah. And when you have that partner doing it with you, you could end the right partner. And not to say like you have the wrong partner, but the right partner meaning like you both are meshing. Yeah. And that you complement each other. Doing life with that person, anything you throw out, you feels like nothing at times, right? Yeah. And not to say a small thing, like a big thing shouldn't feel like anything, or should feel like something, but having that person be there with you through everything is a crazy thing. And it's an amazing thing. Yeah. And so I say to that, I want to say to my daughter that be intentional be selective, and also be yourself. All right. So I'm losing my train of thought.
No, yeah, you're doing good. Yeah, you're talking good, girl. It's like she's like, I don't know.
So many thoughts.
I don't know if it's like this for you guys, but it's kind of like she's grabbing everything we've said in this conversation. Yeah, and she's making it
ball into one thought.
Yeah, but it's perfect the way you're saying it.
But I just want to say this to her. In marriage, it's just like be yourself and communicate. Yeah. Communicate. I think so many fruit is yielded from communication, right? Like being able to talk to someone, be able to talk to your partner. Yeah. And I think everything is great after that. Wow. Will be great after that.
That's really great advice to give your daughter. And I mean, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, like, girl, what did I just say? But I'm telling you, the girls are catching it. I'm catching this. Man, it's good. She's so good. Oh, I love that. Well, you guys have heard it here. Thank you, Dayana, for coming and speaking to this community and sharing, your story, some of the things that you learned. I think my biggest takeaway, and it's going to be on my head all day, and you already know, admitting that you're wrong. I mean, yes. Okay, I guess, so thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
This was great. This is great.
Wasn't she amazing? I'm like, this was like my favorite. So, I mean, she's my first interviewee, but I'm like, I think it's like my favorite so far. Like, I love it. But if you guys enjoyed it, comment below. If you're new here, subscribe. Don't run off. Check out one of the videos.
Hopefully we didn't scare you.
I know. I hope I didn't. I mean, please stay. Check out one of the videos that I have linked at the end of this video, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Don't you ever let anyone dim your light. You're beautiful, you're blessed, and God loves you. So keep being you. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.